Hello and welcome. This seminar, we're talking about grants. So it's all about grants. We want to give you some insight, whether you are a business or an individual or working with a nonprofit organization. We hope that this information is beneficial to you, and hope that it is helpful in getting you on the path to not only understanding a little bit more about what grants are, but also in helping you find those grants, making your search a little bit easier and securing those grants. Now, for those that have purchased this video that is pre-recorded, there may be some that come on who have purchased the in-person virtual class. And so if they come on, I'll be allowing them to come in as we continue throughout the course. Otherwise, we'll keep it going. And for those of you that have pre-purchased this course, this recording will be sent to you at no additional fees and charges. So nonetheless, we're going to get ready to get started here with a presentation on grants. Let me do a little bit of housekeeping here, as I'm going to share my screen with you as we go through this seminar. Let me back up here. So as we get ready to go through this seminar, in order to make contact with me, you can see that there's a QR code that allows you access to my link tree, allows you access to me for any additional needs that you have as far as education. And so nonetheless, all you have to do is scan that code. My information, my name is Anntricia Bray. I am a professional mentor and speaker, and I am located here in the state of Oklahoma. So some of the information that I'm going to be giving to you tonight or today or whenever you're accessing this video has direct links to Oklahoma. Otherwise, anything that I do specifically for Oklahoma, you can look up that same information for your state, for those of you who may be in another state or another area. Most of the grants that I'm going to be talking about are government entities. So these are available no matter what state that you're in. My contact information, where you can reach me directly, like I said, through my link tree, that's linktree/Anntricia Bray, or through my email address at cwforganization@gmail.com, or you can request a complimentary 30-minute connection call with me at calendly.com/Anntricia Bray, and that information is there for you on the screen. Nonetheless, the objectives or the things that I want or intend for you to grasp from this seminar is what is a grant? How do you find the grants? How do you qualify for the grants? Any and all directories that you need to be listed on in order to secure a grant, and the information you need to know for your grants application. So grant applications require many different informations for you to include in that grant. And so we're going to talk specifically about some of those here in this seminar tonight, and how to write a grant. And so we hope to get into some of that. Nonetheless, some housekeeping for those that come on. I do ask that you save your questions to the end of the presentation, if possible, and write those questions down so that I can be sure to address your specific question before we finish this seminar. Nonetheless, what is a grant? And this I find that many people misunderstand what grant funding is. Grant funding is, however, some funding that is usually given to a business or an individual or a organization for a specific project or campaign. And many people don't understand that. Many people think because it's grant funding or because it's called a grant that it's money that they can just get for their business. But understand that it must be usually for a specific project or campaign that you have going as a result of your business. So I hope that I made that perfectly clear to you, that it's not just about having a business, but it's about a specific project that you have going for that business, that most of these funding sources give this money for. So say, for example, I have a nonprofit, which I do. I have a couple of nonprofits. So for my nonprofit, I have an education based nonprofit. And so I provide educational services. Well, I have say a GED class that I'm wanting to offer to the people in my community. And so I look for grants and funding from other organizations, from the government, from individual businesses and things like that to support this program that I am wanting to offer for my nonprofit organization. So I create this program and I have an idea and a plan and a blueprint of what I want this program or this project to look like for the GED, who I'm offering it to and all that. And so then I look for grants, that funding that will support the project that I want to offer and that I would like assistance in funding with. And so that's something to that you really need to understand, that even in business, there is funding out here for you, but usually it's to support a particular project or campaign or idea that you have that you want to or need assistance seeing it manifest. Nonetheless, grant funding is usually a gift to you, and it's usually something that you do not have to pay back. However, even though you may not have to pay the funding back, there may be some requirements if you secure a grant that you may be obligated to do in return, like to submit to the funder that granted you that gift. They may require some information from you as a result of giving you that gift. So that's something that you're going to want to understand when we're talking about grants, okay? So next, you want to know how to find grants. And many people, they have a difficult time, and this is where it stumps many people in where to find these grants. And there's a wealth of information on the internet a wealth of information on business and funding sites that will help you find grants. Now, there are several that I'm getting ready to list here for you and to share with you about some grants. So you can jot some of these down with a pencil and paper. Again, this is being recorded. All you have to do is go back to the video and listen and be able to look those up later if you don't have pencil and paper to write those down. Let's see. So if you can mute yourself as you come on, that would be good. Can you mute your phone there as I go through this? And good evening to you. Glad to have you. So we're at the point to where we're talking about where do we find the grants. And so I'm gonna give you several. I have a whole page of resources here on where you can find grants. And these are for those that are planning to write grants, that you're gonna work for somebody else to find these grants and write them for organizations, or you can also find these for your own business and be able to research these. So I'm going to look off here. There are grants that can be found for businesses, in particular at helloalice.com. That's helloalice.com. SBA.gov, SBA.gov, grants.gov, that's grants.gov, grants with a S.gov. Also, there's one particular here for the state of Oklahoma. And if you're not in the state of Oklahoma, you can also find these by putting your state first. That is oklahoma.grantwatch.com. And so if you're not in the state of Oklahoma, you would then therefore put your state.grantwatch.com. Okay, and those are specifically for businesses. So if you have a nonprofit organization, or these are some that are used for nonprofit organizations. This one in particular is for the state of Oklahoma. That's occf.org, occf.org. What that is Oklahoma City Community Foundation.org. That's what that grant is. That's where you can find some grants for your nonprofit. These grants support economic growth. So if you have a business or you're looking for a grant that promotes community and economic growth, that's a good place to start. They have one available now as we're speaking that will be closing soon. So that's something that you can look up. Also, www.2, the number 2, .ed.gov, www.2.ed.gov. Those are for nonprofit. And also another Oklahoma grant place where you can find grants in the state of Oklahoma is cfok.org. Again, that's cfok.org. Some other grants and other funding, as well as for those that are in the education realm. If you are looking for grants in the area of education, some of the places to find grants that you may not be aware of is walmart.org, walmart.org. So that's walmart.org. Also Dollar General offers a grant funding for education. That is dgliteracy.org. Again, that's dgliteracy.org. Their applications for grants are open right now. So if you have a campaign that you're doing in the area of education and literacy, that would be a good place to start in getting that application in. Also, for education and other funding, there are grantsalert.com. That's grants with an S, alert.com. Also, if you're looking for electronic devices and computers and things of that nature, Wi-Fi for your nonprofit or for rural areas, interconnection.org has grant funding for that. Those are repurposed electronic devices like computers and desktops and things of that. Interconnection.org. You have donorschoose.org, which most teachers and educators are familiar with that for campaigns and projects that they have in their school. And also a good source of funding that you could use and set up yourself is crowdfunding, which is something that we sometimes take for granted and overlook. So one that I use in particularly that I have used in the past that is a good resource to draw other people in to give gifts to your particular campaign is fundly.com. That's FUNDLY.com. So fundly.com. All right. Some other grant funding that may be available to you in your local areas. If you have these stores within a 25 to 50 mile radius in your state, oftentimes there is funding that is available for you is Pizza Hut, Love's, Lowe's, Home Depot, sometimes factories such as Tyson, Pilgrims, Warehousers. They offer funding as well, grant funding for certain projects. Also, if you have Targets and Sonics in your area, all these places and these companies a lot of times have funding, grant funding, gift funding that is available for you for particular projects that you're looking to do in your community. How do you qualify for a grant? There are different qualifications for every grant. There is no one grant that's going to have the same qualifications. Now, how to decide whether or not you qualify for a grant is usually listed right there on the grant that you're looking to submit a proposal to. I will say that if you do not meet the qualifications that are outlined on that specific grant, if you don't meet those qualifications, usually you will not be allowed access to apply for those grants. Usually there are prerequisite questions that you have to go through to decide whether or not you even qualify to apply for that grant. But there's many grants out there. So find one that meets your needs for the campaign or the project that you're trying to do, as to not waste any valuable time. And if you qualify, by all means, apply for that grant. If you don't qualify, then you may want to keep looking for other grants that you may qualify for. And this is why it's so important to understand what type of project that you're doing, so that when you are out seeking grant funding, that you already know whether or not you qualify in that realm for that grant. So specifically, that information is going to be listed on the grant itself. What directories do you need to be listed on in order to secure grants? Now, this is important information to know because many people have asked me in the past, how did you get that grant? I applied for that grant for years and I was never able to secure that grant. Well, many grants or organizations that offer funding will let you know that in order to secure that funding, they want you to be connected to a certain directory. Say, for example, one of the grants that I secured from Dollar General Literacy Foundation, I've secured several grants there from that foundation. In order to secure the funding for that organization, I must be listed in the National Literacy Directory. My program should already be there. The project that I'm getting ready or the campaign that I'm getting ready to do should already be uploaded and secured into that directory. So if I was going to apply for one of the grants, even though I had a good proposal, when they go through and see that I'm not listed in that directory, then that knocks me out of the running for that funding. So you must make sure that you're dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's and know whether or not that particular grant or that foundation or that business that's offering you this gift of money, whether or not they require you to be in a directory. Now, some directories that I'm listed in that you need to ask yourself whether or not you're already on that directory, especially if you are a nonprofit, is GuideStar.org. That's GuideStar, GuideStar.org. Every nonprofit, if you're wanting to be credible and secure funding from other philanthropies and things like that, this is one of the main places that they look. So if you are a 501c3 or 501 nonprofit, that's the first place that you want to start to be sure that your organization is listed there and that your profile is complete. That's one of the things also that you need to go back and update. Even if you're already on GuideStar, go back and be sure that your profile is complete and that your information is up to date. So that's a good thing to do. Me getting prepared for this seminar, that's one of the places I had to start, is to go back to be sure that my information is current and it's updated and that my profiles are complete. Because when you don't have complete profiles and there's information missing from your profile, sometimes you can miss funding that way as well. And so the National Literacy Directory, for those that are securing funding for education institutions or nonprofits, is NLD.org, NLD.org. And also for those that are securing grants from, say, like Walmart Foundation or something like that, you're going to want to make sure that you're in the cyber grants directory, and that's impact, IMPACT.cybergrants with an S.com. So you want to make sure that you're in those directories in order to secure some of the fundings that I have talked about here, okay? what information do you need to know for your grant application? And knowing this ahead of time will save you a lot of headache, a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry when you already have this information together. So it does take research. Writing a grant takes time. And I suggest that if you're looking to do business by writing grants for other businesses and individuals, that you make sure that you know what to expect so that you get your money's worth and that you're not cheating yourself. If you are a business or an organization and you are looking to write these grants for your business and for your organization or your church or whatever, then you need to know this information as it applies to you and your area, okay? So some of the information that you're going to need to know, and I have quite a bit here. I'm just going to run through it. Please, by all means, when you have access to this video, go back and watch this particular area so that you can get the information. If I go too fast for you to write the information down, you will have access to this content, okay? One of the things that you may need to know, and it may not apply to all grants, but I'm just going to go over a bit of information that you may have to know for grant applications. You may need to upload and have access to your 501c3 letter of determination. You're going to need a project title or a campaign title. We talked about that. You're going to need to know the amount of money that you're requesting from that foundation or institution or organization, the number of people or families that will be served, the ethnicity of the group that is going to be served, whether or not you have received funding from this particular funding source before. They're going to need to know your directory information for those of you who are required to upload to a directory. They want to know your demographic classification, whether you're in a rural area, urban area, suburb. Also, they want to know some information regarding the education rates, literacy rates, poverty rates, unemployment rates, the language of the primary language of that community that you're serving. You'll need to have a statement of impact, a project design, a timeline in which this project will be run, your delivery of this project. How will the project be delivered? Like, for example, this project that I'm sitting here doing for you now, it's virtual. There's a presentation piece and also an audio piece, and you'll have access to this on demand. It's facilitated by me virtually. So, I mean, there's a method to it. Assessment method. How will you assess the effectiveness of the campaign that you're doing or that you plan to do? And how will you measure the results? So that is important. And many people, you know, they don't think about how you're going to be able to tell this funding source whether or not that program or that campaign or project that you did was effective. You have to have measurable results, because how you plan to measure it is also going to be important in the feedback that you may be required to give back to that foundation as a result of accepting that gift of money. So yes, the money you may not have to pay that money back, but remember I said in the beginning that you may be required to submit some feedback to that organization as a result of writing that grant. Also, they want to know any other partners that you may be securing funding from. Could you mute your phone? It looks like I can. Oh, no, I don't want you to. Okay. So, so you may want to secure funding from someone else to also assist with the funding for that campaign. This is information that some funding sources want to know and that you would have to add into that grant application. Also, key personnel, people that are working with you, if it's a group project within your organization that you're securing funding for, they want to know key personnel with that as well. Technology, they want to know sometimes if technology is going to be used or necessary within that, especially if you're securing funding from interconnection and things like that. How's that technology going to be used? How is it going to benefit the people that you are serving? Your revenue, your budget for that particular project, and a budget narrative. Also, you have to submit sometimes financial statements, for example, your e-postcards or your tax papers, your audit papers for your particular organization, your chair, your board members, and your executive director. Sometimes there are questions regarding those in your grant application. The majority of the people who will be working in that grant, their ethnicity. Also, you may be asked to submit a video introduction that states something about your grant proposal that you're asking for grants for. Let's see. Also, they want to know whether or not sometimes the sexual orientation of members that are going to be supported in that grant, disability, military affiliation, especially for those who are trying to secure business grants. This is just some of the information that is asked. The age range in which you are asking for this funding, your business ownership, whether it's sole proprietor, whether it's a partnership, a corporation, or something of that nature. You will need the name of your business website, your business social media handles and pages, the year or the years in which your business was founded. You will need your EIN number and the industry, the particular industry in which your business falls under. There's different types of business industries out there. You will need to know how to describe your business and what it is that your business does, almost like a sales pitch, and you want to keep it short and sweet because sometimes you only get as little space as 150 words to explain what it is that your business does. However many employees you have, your gross revenue, that's also information that you need to have, and your expected annual revenue for the current year in which you are applying for that particular grant. They want to know if you've sometimes been turned down for business loans. That's important to make sure that you answer these questions truthfully. If you've applied for a loan for your business and you've been turned down, and also you may have an opportunity to explain that, a space to explain that in your grant application. But just make sure whatever you do when you're answering these questions, that you answer these questions truthfully. Sometimes they want to know the issues that you're having with funding in your business or organization. And so that's also something that you're going to need to know. Why do you need this funding? Are you struggling? Or is this a new campaign that you just don't have enough funding in your budget to support? But you're really going to have to think about it so that you can answer these questions truthfully. They want to know sometimes what your vision or your goal is for your business. Like, where do you see your business in the next 3 to 5 years? They want to know sometimes the biggest obstacles and challenges that your business has faced in past or in the current year that leads up to your funding. Okay. And sometimes they'll want you to elaborate on that. They want to know some information about the community that you're living in. And so, or the community that you're getting ready to serve. So if you're doing something that's virtual and you're serving a wide array of consumers to your business, then that's something you're going to have to look at. Is go to your business blueprint to look at what your target audience is, so that you can answer those questions as it meets the needs of the campaign that you're trying to, or project that you're trying to secure funding for. It wants to know sometimes whether or not your project or your business, what's your sustainability plan? And we know that sustainability is everything. They want to know that they're not throwing funding away, and that if they give you funding, they want to know that your business is secure enough and sustainable enough that that funding will help project your business for the future and years to come, and that money has gone to good use. Also, they want to know, what are you primarily going to use the funding for? And this is where many of us dropped a ball when we're trying to secure grant funding, is that the funding is not for you. Yes, we're writing to get this funding for the business, but ideally the funding is client-centered. So when you're writing this proposal, you want to always speak the language that the funder speaks when they are offering these grants, and also answer the questions projected toward the benefits of the consumers that you are looking to serve through the funding source, okay, through this funding. So please keep in mind that when you're answering these questions about what the funding is going to be used for primarily, you always want to think about the consumer or the people that you're serving through that project, and answer the questions accordingly that way. Other questions they want to know sometimes is your target audience. This all goes back to your business blueprint. If you have a business plan or business model or business framework, some of this information should already be listed there. And so that's why you want to make sure that your business paperwork and framework and blueprint all lines up, because that information comes in handy when you're trying to secure funding. They want to know sometimes your business goals, and anything else, any other information that you would like to share with them to help them as they make their decision for you to secure grant funding. And so that is information that you will need to know usually in any grant application, any and all of that information that I have just shared with you. And so how do you write the grant? The grant is usually set up just like any other application, whether it's a grant that you're writing down on paper, whether it's something that you're having to do digitally and online. Usually you write the grant as such, just as you would any other application. There's a system of questions that you have to go through. There's some that you would have to apply text to, and so, or some that you just click to answer yes or no. There may be even some that you will have to elaborate on questions that you ask. There may even be information in forms such as your revenue, your bank forms, your tax forms, your e-postcards and things like that, that you may, your also your EIN numbers, your letter of determinations. They may request that you upload some of those forms within the application process if you're doing those applications online. So that's something that also when you're writing grants, that particular project or campaign that you're proposing funding for should have a name, a title for that particular project. And so that's what you lead with, making sure that all the information you include in that directly applies to the grant funding or the grant that you're trying to secure. So with that being said, if you have any further questions that you need answers to, you can ask those to me by sending me an email. Again, that email was at cwforganization@gmail.com. You can ask those directly. You get access to your question, access to me to answer these questions for you as a result of this purchasing this particular seminar video. And so if you have questions, please submit those questions to me. Also, I want to thank you for allowing me to walk you through this information pertaining to grants. And I ask that you stay connected to me by scanning that code there. That also takes you to my link tree. Okay. So nonetheless, know that your purchase of this seminar has allowed you on-demand access to the content of everything that's in here. It's also allowed you access to me to ask me any questions that you may have as a result of this video in regards to grants, complimentary. And so make sure that you take advantage of that and reach out to me again via email at cwforganization@gmail.com, and also for other resources that any of my books, and other courses that I may have available for you, visit my link tree. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/Anntricia Bray. That's ANNTRICIA BRAY. Thank you for allowing me to walk you through this process, and I wish you well.